Hey y'all, welcome to the Feeling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in the market or to just learn from the market. But yeah, it's an interesting day in the market thus far. Let's say that. But let me go ahead and give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at the VIX. And as you can see, we were down here in the $21 range or the $22 range, $29 range, only to come back up to this 65. VIX made a high of 65.73 thus far pre-market, which is very interesting, right? So the first thing I would want to, go and look at and see what is going on in the news. So we have some economic data coming out at 10 a.m., 9:45 and 10 a.m., which is the S&P final U.S. services PMI and the ISM services. So this is very important economic data that you can go and research for free every single day. I always go and check and see what's going on in the with the economic calendar. So just some helpful tips. Let me get my words right today. So the market is just different today, right? So let's go to the SPY. And this is the SPY on the daily chart. And as you can see, I have the SPY finding, there's a gap that needs to be filled on the SPY at this 508.56 area. Let me see if I can make that. Yes, 508.56 down to 505.89 or 505.89 down to up to 508.56. Those are going to be trouble places, a gap fill, not really a trouble place, because pre-market we came down to the 509 area. So that's interesting to know. If you're looking at it on this daily chart, just know that there is a downside gap, and the support is going to be here at 505.85, which is this 200 EMA. So SPY closed at 532, and we've made a pre-market low thus far around 509, which is interesting because we are still declining. Now, the question is, where are we going to find support? Where is our support, right? So I'm going to try to zoom out. I'm going to try to zoom out so that you can see. I had the SPY marked at this area, the shaded area here, which is around the 517 down to the 510.01 as a previous gathering spot. And what that means is price gathered in this area, and before we moved, price gathered in this area here. So I call that a key look. That's a gathering spot. So it didn't surprise me to see the SPY back at the 517 down to the 511, because this was an area that we came down to before and price gathered. This is everyone was meeting in this area. So that's why I call it the gathering spot. So, where are our trouble places for the SPY as of right now, right? So as of now, I'm going to move from the daily chart and go to the 30-minute chart, because that's where I normally start. As you can see, we are back in this gap fill area at the 508.56 all the way down to the 505.89. Again, it would not surprise me to fill this gap here. And we made a pre-market low thus far of 507.83. We can continue declining. We can continue going down. So if we do, where are our trouble places, right? If we break this level of 505.89, just know that we can come back to 498.25 and again at 497.47. Under 497.47, just know that 493.57 is a trouble place, which we can find support and bounce from there. 493.57. Because we've had such a sharp decline, I'm not sure if we're going to find support here and bounce back to the upside, but those are places to the downside that I would watch the SPY. And let's see. Yes, we can see it a little bit clearer there. So 507.83 is going to be our support area as of right now. It looks like we've tested that and bounced, even though there is still ways to go down to fill this gap. So let's look back to the upside, right? So to the upside, above 513.34, we're going to have trouble here at 514.06. Above the 514.06, 515.05. Above the 515.05, 515.26. And above that 515.26 is 517 99 517.39 area, just know this is going to be an area of strong resistance, right? Because that was the top of that gathering spot on the daily chart. So if we break above this 517.39, we still going to have trouble here at 518.31. Above 518.31, 519.06, and above 519.06, this brings us to the ATR trailing stop at the 520.28 area. So just know that we could very well have trouble at those places back to the upside. It could very well stop us out. And please don't think that because we've declined so much that we cannot continue to the downside. However, it did seem to have found some type of support here at the 507.83 area. So again, anything is possible in the market. Nothing is guaranteed. I say that often. So we are now looking at Tesla, which is down in the 1984 area, which is not surprising, right? So where are our trouble places for Tesla as of right now? I'm going to see if I can make that a little bit smaller. So our trouble places for Tesla, we hit this 184.57. Just know that we will have trouble here around 184.12, under 184.12, 183.89. 183.98, 183.98, under 183.98, 183.05, under the 183.05, 182.72, under the 182.72, 182.34. Those are going to be trouble places for Tesla. If by chance we break under the 182.34, we can come all the way back down to the 180.92. So that is interesting for Tesla, right? So where are our trouble places back to the upside? Again, we're looking at it on this 30-minute chart. So if by chance we break above this level of 187.20, we can come back to 187.79, again at 188.48 and 188.81. Above 188.81, we'll have trouble at this 5 EMA at 188.97. Above the 188.97, just know 189.01 is going to be a trouble place for us back to the upside. And it looks like it's forming a hammer, a green hammer. Again, this candle has not closed, so we will have to wait on this. But just know that we have created a gap to the downside, considering we closed at 207 and we're down to the 184. So most stocks will probably gap down today, meaning there's going to be a big gap to the upside that will need to be filled. But again, anything is possible, so trade carefully today. But those are the places for Tesla that I would watch to the upside and to the downside, right? So just know the 5 EMA is here at 188.95, and there is going to be a big gap that needs to be filled to the upside, right? So again, trade carefully today. I say that often. Let's see where we are. Nvidia is back down to the 91.96 area. We broke out of a gathering spot, so up above this 95.91 area would be an area of that I would have marked for support and resistance for Nvidia, right around the 97.05, 97.04, 97.05 area, 97.80. That's where price gathered, as you can see here. We broke out of that zone only to come back down and find support here at 91.46. Is that going to be a double bottom for us and we go back to the upside? Let's look and see where, Nvidia closed at 107.27. We're down to 91.46 as a pre-market low, so we could very well bounce here and go back to the upside. But I say trade carefully, right? So where are our trouble places? Just know it. We need to break above 94.16. Above the 94.16, 95.81. Above 95.81, we're going to have trouble back here at the 97.04, 97.05 area. Above that 97.04 or 97.05, we will have trouble around the 97.80. Above the 97.80, we'll probably have trouble around the 98.37 area. And if by chance we break the 97.38 area, we can come all the way back to the ATR trail and stop around the 123.25 area. So I would say if I traded, Nvidia, to trade carefully today, because we're back at the 91.46 is the pre-market low. And looking at it, this is the daily chart. The 200 EMA is down here at 87.43. So we can come all the way down to this 87.43 area and find support. And I normally mark that as, so that when I'm looking at it, I know that, going to a smaller time frame, I know that it could very well come back to this area, which is the 200 EMA on the daily chart. So definitely pay attention to that area. If you trade NVIDIA today, we are declining, we are down, we have gap down. It too will create a gap to the upside that needs to be filled. However, it will need to come down and find some type of support and bounce off of that support. I always say buy off support and or rejection, right? So here at the 87.30, it wouldn't surprise me to see it come down and find support here on the daily chart and bounce back to the upside. So if you trade NVIDIA today, trade carefully. Again, anything is possible, nothing is guaranteed, right? So we are now looking at AMD. And AMD closed at 132.50. We have made a low of 120.52. So AMD has found support around the 120.52 area. It broke out of a gathering spot, which was here around 125.69 up to the 126.67. So I will mark this area because at some point it's probably going to come back to this area, right? So this is how I chart. This is my charting 101, right? So I marked the area where it broke out of a gathering spot, and I know at some point it's going to come back to this area. So I need to remember that that is going to be a trouble place for me back to the upside. So it looks like we're bouncing off of support. Know that we're going to have trouble around the 124.16, above the 124.16, 125.69, above 125.69, 126.67, above 126.67, 128.05, and above 128.05, we'll probably have trouble around the 129.72, which is forming an ATR trailing stop and a previous support area. So I would definitely watch that 129. Let's see, the 129.58 area, because that's going to be strong resistance for us for AMD back to the upside. So again, y'all, the market is going to be interesting today. Again, there is some information coming out at 10 o'clock. Bitcoin is down tremendously. It closed at around, it was about $66 on Friday. Or Thursday, Friday area was around the $66 range. We have come down to 49,365, so that 49,000 area, which is a decline, right? So when Bitcoin start dropping, it makes you wonder what in the world is really going on, what's really happening, right? So I always try to go back and look at Bitcoin just to see overall where we are, and to see this decline. There's definitely some fear in the market, right? So that doesn't mean that you can't go in and make your trades and trade carefully. I'm going to go back to the VIX to see, it looks like we're getting rejected off that 65.73. So it looks like the SPY very well may be finding some type of support as of right now. And again, that 507.83. So y'all, today should be a very interesting day. I say trade carefully. Do not rush into your trades. Just know where you're going to have trouble. Mark your support areas or places that stop that candle from dropping or moving higher, because at some point it's going to come back and retest that area again. At some place it's going to get stopped out there again. Just know that SPY, if you trade the SPY today, there is a gap to the downside that I have marked from the daily chart that will need to be filled. And again, it would not surprise me to come back and find support on that 205 area, which is on the daily chart if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the 205 area here, 205.85, which is on our daily chart for the SPY. So again, y'all, I hope these videos are very, very helpful. I hope that everyone have a profitable and very productive day. Do not rush into your trades, because it can continue declining, but you want to buy off of support and know where your support areas are by, back to the upside, and make your profit back to the upside. So again, I hope that everyone is have a profitable day today. And I always say, y'all, we learn and we grow together. So if you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We learn and we grow together. So I always like to leave you with this: be blessed as well as a blessing unto others. Until next time.